So here's another example of completing the square. For this one, we've given a little bit more breakout explanation. So we start with this trinomial here. And remember, our first step is to get ax squared plus bx, to get that term, those two terms by themselves. So we bring over the negative 15, and we're left with that on the left, that on the right. Now, remember, our goal is to make a perfect square on the left so that it collapses down into a perfect square down here. In order to do that, we take half of b and square it, and that becomes our new c term. But when we add to this side, we also have to add to this side. So we've made a perfect square on the left. It collapses down, we made a perfect square trinomial on the left, which collapses down into this perfect square here. And we've kept the right side balanced by adding 12.25 to 10, which got us 2.25. And we've also shown you how a perfect square trinomial like this collapses into a perfect square, because here's what it looks like. If we have n plus 3.5 times n plus 3.5, which is what that square represents, then we have n squared. We have our b split in half between 3.5 and 3.5, right? And we have that half of b squared when we do our last piece of FOIL to get 12.25. So this is where the half of b comes from that ends up in our perfect square, because that's really what's being added together in the middle for our b terms and squared to get our c term. That's why this is half of b. So from there, it's just solving, right? Taking square root of both sides, isolating the n, adding, and subtracting your square root, okay? In this case, when we add and subtract that, we get negative 0.5 and 5. And you can also double check this by typing in this equation, n squared plus 7n plus 10. Actually, let's make those x's for Desmos, right? X squared plus 7x plus 10 equals y. Into Desmos, it will give you these two roots. All right, again, I'm going to cut this off, and then we'll do one more example in a different video.